goodness?
Yeah.
Exciting prayers tonight. Turn your Bibles to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 1. Sorry. Got a little thought on my heart tonight. Appreciate the way the Lord moved this far. And both of you come and prayed. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 1. We'll start reading verse 6. The Lord our God spake unto us in Horeb, saying, Ye have dwelt long enough in this mount. Turn you and take your journey, go to the mount of the Amorites, and unto all the places nigh thereunto, in the plain and the hills, and in the vale, and in the south, by the sea side, to the land of the Canaanites, and unto Lebanon, unto the great river Euphrates. Behold, I have set the land before you. Go in and possess the land which the Lord sware unto your father Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give unto them and their seed after them. Thank you for standing for the reading. Well, we're very familiar with the fact that children of Israel, as they wandered in the wilderness, after they'd been delivered from Egypt, and they was given a promise of Canaan, and but they've, like I said, they've been delivered out of Egypt, and they've been camping out at Mount Horeb for about a year, and but this was not their promised land.
That's right.
It was just a place they were dwelling. There was more for them than what they had obtained.
Right.
And I thought there was a lot more there than what they were allowing themselves to have.
Right.
Bear with me, but we know how that Caleb and Joshua went in and they spied out the land, and they came back, and those are spies. They came back and they knew that there was great things in Canaan. They knew that there was much more over there. The things that God had promised them was abundant. It was evident that the things was there. And I thought that's the way it is with us a lot of times today. I thought the Lord has promised us a lot more than what we are obtaining.
Come on.
Than what we are getting.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, I want all that the Lord has for me tonight.
Yeah.
I thought, there's times that, everybody's taste is different, Brother Rodney. I'm sure you like some things that I don't like. I thought, most people, I remember growing up, and as a kid, I loved pizza. Brother Rodney, I thought we love pizza. Brother Sparks did not like pizza. But as time has evolved, I still like pizza, but I realize there's some things about pizza that I don't like. Number one, I do not like tomato sauce. And if I go and I get a pizza and they've got it smothered in tomato sauce, I might eat a little bit of it, but I'm not going to eat as much as if I go get me a pizza, and there's places I can go and they make that pizza for me, and I tell them to leave the sauce off and put on lots of cheese and make it real saucy with cheese. And I thought I could sit down, and I know I can because I've done it. I could eat a whole pizza by myself. But I thought you put that old nasty tomato sauce on there, and I'm not going to eat that. I might eat a bite or two of it, but not as much. And I thought, and I said that because there's some things that we do. I thought sometimes Sister Kathy will fix things for supper, and I'll come in from work, and there's not a whole lot that she fixes that I won't eat. But there's some things that she likes that I don't like as good as she does, and she will fix that, and I'll eat, and I'll be satisfied with my hunger. But I would not eat as much as I would have had she had one of my favorite dishes. And I thought that's the way it is a lot of times whenever it comes to getting the things of God. I thought sometimes the things that God has offered for us isn't exactly what we think we are wanting. And we want to hold back a little bit rather than go in all the way and get what God has for us. I'll be honest with you. By being raised in a pastor's house, whenever the Lord started dealing with my heart to preach, Brother Rodney, that's not what I wanted from God. That's not the road that I wanted to go. Although I'm not pastoring and never have pastored for, say, a church, but yet I've been in the ministry and I've preached. And I thought once I accepted the calling that God had placed on my life, then I found out that it was a whole lot easier for me to progress on with God. But I thought a lot of times we want to hold back because it's not what we've got in mind. The children of Israel, whenever they came up to the river of Canaan, and they wanted to go and possess, but they realized they was going to have to go in, and it was going to require something of them to get what God had promised them. I thought that even though God told them they could have it, they had to go in and possess it. There was people that they had to overthrow some kingdoms, and they had to overthrow some people in order to be able to acquire the things God had promised them. And I thought tonight, if we're going to get where we need to be with God, we're going to have to get up and want to acquire the things that God has promised us.
Right. Conquer the land. Great.
A lot of times we find ourselves, like we said here about the children of Israel, we find ourselves camping out in our own comfort zone. We find ourselves setting out where that we want to be. I remember a few years ago, David was had just started driving, and he had a little Camaro with a V6 engine in it. And the whole time he had that car, it had an intake gasket leak. And I looked at it. I could have fixed that car, but with those Camaros, how that motor set way back up underneath that dash, it was quite of a challenge to get there. And and it wasn't leaking in; it just leaked out. It run out. The antifreeze would run out of the bottom. None was getting in the oil or down into the cylinder, so it wasn't critical. And but I went. I found there was another guy. He had worked in a garage for several years, and he had quit the garage, and he was doing work in his own house, had a little garage there behind his house, and I knowed him for a long time. And I pulled in one day, and I told him what I had. I said, we've got a Camaro with a 3.8 V6, and I said I'd like to have an intake gasket put on it. And he said, well, I really don't want to tie my garage up that long. What he was saying is really, that's not what I want to do. He knew the same job that I knew. He knew how difficult it was going to be to get it finished. And so he just politely told me, I don't want to do it. And I thought that's the way we are a lot of times with God. We look and we see the difficulty of the task ahead of us, and we just simply tell God, Lord, I would rather not tie myself up with that. There's other things that I would rather do than to put myself out to get to where you want me to go. And I thought, but we've got to go forward, and we've got to get out of our comfort zone. We've got to step out and do some things that God wants us to do. I thought, it's easy for us to look around and say, this is one, I'll do this. I thought, I do a little mechanic work on the side when I'm able, and I don't care a bit to do brake jobs and jack it up, put brakes on them, and different things. But I've had some people call me and they want me to put intake gaskets on, want me to put head gaskets on, Brother Jim. And there's been a few times that I've took the job. But I thought, I'm one of those guys, I get it all tore down and I'm looking at it. And I think, why if I get it all back together and it leaks? Or why if I get this all back together and I can't get this engine to start again? And there's always that if in the back. And it's so much easier when you just say, I'd rather not do that. But I thought if you're going to get the money for the job, then you've got to go all the way through with it. And I thought if we're going to get the benefits from serving God, then we've got to go all the way through with the things God wants us to do. I thought we can't sit back in our comfort zone. I thought it's easy for us to settle back into a life of ease. I thought, there will work, and Brother Danny can vouch for me. He's been there about as long as I am old. He's been there a long time. He started back in the early 70s, I believe it was. And I've been there, this may be 31 years myself. And but for a long time we have maintained, and we've kept a pretty good customer base up, and we've stayed busy, and everybody's worked, and but we've got a new owner now, and he's not happy with what you would call status quo. That's not. I mean, if you get to that place where you're just comfortable in status quo, then you and him are not going to get along too good. And I thought because it's easy for everybody you get accustomed, and you know what you're going to bring in, and you've got your life adjusted to that, and you're paying the bills, but that's not where he wants the business to be. Number one, he went and did a whole bunch of money in order to acquire that business. So in order to pay that off, then everybody's got to work, and so that he can make money. And if he makes money, then we make money. And I thought, I said that because, and like I said, it's been easy. And a lot of people have just been riding by. And, and with sales, Brother Danny's in sales. And some of the salesmen, most of the salesmen this year, this past year, they've sold a lot more than they'd ever sold. And there was one or two maybe that didn't do as much as they had in years past. And they had the complaints, they had COVID and this, but the ones that sold more, they worked through COVID the same as everybody else did, so he didn't look at that as an excuse, and I thought so some of them back in the plant where I'm over in, and as time got hard, they still making the same money on the hour. But yet we have to require more time of them, more hours, and I've had several that have been with me a long time, Brother Rodney. Rodney decided, hey, this ain't what I want to do. I don't want to put in all this time, and they just came in and said, I'm leaving. I'm through. I don't want this because they had become in their comfort zone. They'd been satisfied with where they was at. They didn't want to progress. They didn't want to have to push themselves. And I thought a lot of times we do the same thing with God. We get in this comfort zone. Lord, I'm coming to church. I'm sitting here every once in a while. I feel a little chill run up down my spine. I feel a little goose pimple. And I know, Lord, that I'm still coming in contact with you. But I thought God doesn't want status quo. He wants us to push for it. He wants us to get past our state of ease and our life of ease and do more work for Him. Well, whenever I preach like this, I realize that there was a time, Brother Harold, I danced a whole lot more than I danced. There was a time I ran a whole lot more than I run. And so, I'm not just preaching to you, I'm preaching to me. I thought we as a church, we as the church of God, not just us in this building, but the church in general, the children of God, I thought it's time that we move forward for God. But we find ourselves pulling back. And I realize that we are in a time that we've never seen before. And And I realize this pandemic that's going on, it's real. I mean, I don't understand why some can get it and just get a runny nose and a fever and lose their taste and smell, and that's about the extent of it. And some people get it, like Sister Pauline had it back in the summer and ended up in the hospital. And Sister Kathy Brock's in the hospital now. I realize she's had a heart attack, but it's all played from this virus that attacked her body and got her in the condition that she's in. And I realize these things are real. But I thought we can't look at that and say, Lord, I can't go on and work for you because of the COVID. I thought we got to look at it and say, Lord, now is a time greater than any. We've got a time to win souls. It's been said here before, because every day somebody, all these numbers of people that are dying, well, there's a lot of those people that have died that have been lost. They didn't know God. And I thought, and I look back, and there have been a lot of people, we've lost some good holiness preachers to this. Brother David Brock, and I believe Brother Tolliver, if I'm not mistaken, and he passed away from this. And a lot of you probably didn't know him, but a great man of God. And Brother Strickler and some of those others, great men of God that this virus took out. But I thought, how many died that didn't know God? That are lost, went into an eternity without God. And I thought, it's no time for us to be at ease. No time for us to be comfortable at where we're at. I thought there's danger in any business or ministry that becomes self-satisfied. Instead of advancing to new levels, people become content, like I said a while ago, with this status quo. Just maintaining. I thought, we can't maintain. I thought, we can't just maintain. I thought, because we have to grow with God. I thought, we've got to take everything that God offers for us. I said before, I remember when I was a kid, and Mom would fix supper, and she'd sit it on the table, and if we was going to eat, we had to eat what was set on the table. And there wasn't but a few things that she would put out there, Brother Rodney, that I wouldn't eat. One of those was hominy. I still will not eat hominy. Brother Sparks loves it. But I can't do it. I tried it, and I thought, we grew up, and Mom would fix dinner. Like I said, she'd fix supper, she'd sit down, and if we were going to eat, then we ate what she prepared for us. But I'm the oldest. Sister Michelle's 5 years younger than me. Brother Ike is 10 years younger than me. And I thought there was a lot of times that Mom fixed supper, and we all ate what was fixed, and she'd fix Ike something else because he didn't like what we had. And I thought, and I pick on him a lot over that. And but yet he wanted to eat, and so she would fix him something different. And I thought, but when it comes to serving God, He ain't going to give us nothing different. I thought, He's got something for us. And He's got a table spread out before us. And I thought, He's wanting us to come and dine. He's wanting us to come and eat the things that He's got prepared for us. He's not going to fix no easy road for someone else. I thought, He's not going to fix soup, beans, and cornbread. And I like fried spam with my soup, beans, and cornbread. I mean, some of you might not like that. Roll it in a little cornmeal and fry that. I like that. And He's not going to fix all that for us and then open up a can of raviolis for you. That's not the way God works. I thought He's going to lay it all out, and He's going to offer all of us the same thing. And I thought He's wanting us to come and get the things that He's got prepared for us. And I thought there's great blessings God's got prepared for us, but we've got to come and get it. We've got to come and get the things that God has for us. I thought we need to advance, stop camping out around the base of the mountain. I thought it's time that we go get it. I thought it's a command to us to move on. I thought you take a river of water, if it doesn't have an outlet, and it doesn't have an inlet, that water is going to become stagnant. And I thought it's going to breed mosquitoes, and the water's going to get bacteria in it, and it's going to be diseased, and that water will bring forth death. That water that can be refreshing, if it doesn't flow, will bring forth things that cause death. Now, you take a vehicle, and you can let it sit. You take a brand new vehicle and let it sit, and it will sit there and rot down. It'll run. I thought I went back. I've just got that building I've got I use for a garage, and it's just a metal frame building, just treated posts with tin around it. And one day last week it was raining, and I went back there. I believe it was maybe last Saturday. I can't remember, New Year's Day or sometime. Anyway, I went back there, and I walked in, and I had my old truck sitting there, and I had my father-in-law's truck there. I was working on it, and I opened them up, and both of them trucks was sitting there, soaking wet. That building had sweated. The concrete was wet because of all the humidity. And I thought, well, it's inside, it's dry, it's going to be okay. But because of the weather and the climate, and if you let things sit like that, it'll ruin it. It will destroy it. And I thought, in a person's life, or someone that only lies around in the bed, I thought they're going to develop bed sores. They're going to become sick. You can't just lay there. I remember Sister Kathy's niece, Taylor. She was just a teenager, and she got all sick and puny, and just wasn't doing good at all. And they took her to the doctor, and they was checking her out. And you know what the doctor told her was wrong with her? She's simply getting too much sleep. All the child wanted to do was lay and sleep. And he said she's sleeping way too much. She wanted to put some activity in her life. Your body just lay. I thought when we don't get we don't exercise the thing God gives us. I thought then we become weak.
Come on. All right.
And I thought we've got to get up and move and do the things that God would have us to do. I thought it's time for us to move on for God. It's time for us to advance. And I thought we've got to be willing to move. And I thought there's still lots of work to be done. I thought we look around and we see it's obvious the things that's going on. I mean, if most of us, we don't have regular telephone. Most of us have smartphones. And so, if you get it up and if you bring up Google or whatever search engine you use on your phone or a computer, whatever it is, you bring it up, the news is right there. And all the headlines of the things that's going on around us. I thought there's a lot of bad things going on around us. But it's not time for us to stop. It's time for us to advance. It's time for us to move on and do the things God wants us to do. I thought God's not satisfied with status quo. And like I said about my boss, he's got a lot invested in Uncle Charlie's. I thought God's got a lot invested in the church.
Right.
He sent his son to die for the church.
Right.
So he don't want us to sit around and just be comfortable with status quo. He wants us to get up and move and take the things that God has got for us. As they come against a song tonight, I hope I've helped you. I thought this little thought's been on my mind most of the week. And I thought it's time for us to move. It's time for us to do something for God instead of being satisfied with where we're at. It's been going on 18 years ago now. We were living over in Irvin, down off Sweet Lick Road there, in the trailer park, right on the front there. Went down into the trailer park, right on the Sweet Lick Road. Had a little pasture out in front of us, some horses playing around. And it was nice. But I didn't like living in that trailer park with a yard about half as wide as this church is. And nothing, And I decided I wanted to move. Sister Kathy really did not want to move. And she liked where we was at. We was there in town. We could get up in the evenings and we could take us a little walk up the sidewalks and just to get out and enjoy ourselves. But I wanted to move. I wasn't satisfied there. And the place we got, my father owned it, and it was all grown up. And I was determined that I was going to move there. And I went down, and every night I'd go down and I would work from the time I got off work, sometimes way after dark, down there with a chainsaw, cleaning that place up, trying to get it where I could get in, and put lots of hours in because I was tired of where I was at.
Come on
and I
now.
wanted to move.
Come on. Woo!
And I thought, when we get tired of where we're at, and we realize that if we're going to get something better, then we're going to have to work for it. We was going to somewhere the other day, we was talking about places to live, and even though Sister Kathy did not necessarily want to move to where we was at, she liked where we was at. And the other day she said, there's nowhere I'd want to live any better than where I'm at. And I thought we had to work to get there.
That's right.
And everybody said, well, the property was given to you. Yeah, it was. But I had to do a whole lot of work in order to get it to where I could live on it. And I thought, now that I'm living there, and it's been 17 years, Brother Harold, I can't stop. I thought, if I'm going to live there, then there's always work to do. And I thought, sometimes I think, boy, it'd be nice to live in an apartment. And all you have to do is come home and sit back, and you don't have to mow the grass. I don't know, I got a big lawnmower, but you mow almost 3 acres every week. It's tiresome in the summertime. Come home, you're tired, you got to mow all that. But I thought, but it's what I wanted. I had to work to get it. And I thought, if I'm going to maintain it, keep it, I've got to maintain it. And I thought, if we're going to keep what God's given us, we're going to have to maintain it, and we're going to have to work to advance and to grow it.
That's right.
Bill Sparks was talking about his garden this morning. And I thought, I don't garden much. I have in the past. But I thought, when you put out a garden and you spend all that money putting it out, you're not just going to go out and plant the seeds and walk in the house and let it grow. You're going to get out and you're going to work it. If you're going to get anything out of it, you've got to work it. And I thought, if we're going to get anything out of our relationship with God, then we've got to work it. We've got to do what God wants us to do. If they give us a song, let's come and pray.
Hallelujah.